What is your personal curse? Story 1. The person you date after me is always your soulmate, but I am doomed to never be in a forever relationship. Answer. I have this too. What I said to myself is that I was good enough to show them how good a relationship can be, but we simple were not meant to be. And that I know I can have a good relation and is just a question of time for me to find someone. It may be crap, but I don't know. I think the role of being the bridge, and hopefully a good one, for other people love is also an important one. One day will be our turn. Story 2. While it might look like I have things figured out from a third-party perspective, I am never really content with where I am at, and I am always wanting to make big changes and just start all over. Story 3. Anytime things go too well or I get too happy, there's some kind of cosmic shift and something tragic happens. I try to maintain a flatline disappointment instead. Story 4. I'm not superstitious, but a lot of bad things have happened to me on a specific day of the year. Friend died, lost job, broke my foot, dog had seizure, dumped. The only bad financial decision I've ever made purchased on that day. It's really strange, and I dislike that day and call it the cursed day. Story 5. My dad's side of the family has a curse that we can't catch any fish when fishing. Never in my life have I, my dad, my grandfather, or my great-grandfather caught a single fish while fishing. Story 6. I'd say luckering in general. I swear, no matter what I'm doing, it's either at the worst time or I always get screwed on odds. You could put 99 red marbles and 1 blue marble in a bag and tell me to reach in. And if I grab anything other than a red marble, it'd be shot. I probably somehow grabbed the blue marble twice in a row. Story 7. I have an allergy to heat and sweat called cholinergic urticaria. If I laugh, I get hives. If I get nervous, I get hives. If I exercise, I get hives. My life has become one antisocial thermostat. Story 8. Me and my family are all pretty substance addiction resistant. Seriously, they all just quit chain smoking without a single issue, and there's not a single alcoholic to be found. But we all have major unreasonable stress issues to deal with. So, we're an anxious, stressed out, and way too sober bunch. Story 9. If someone is playing a game with a ball, doesn't matter if it's a golf ball or a giant exercise ball, it will come from across the room field and hit me in the face. Even if I have nothing to do with the outing, I was seriously afraid of gym class until I didn't have to take it anymore. The number of sports balls are countless. I had a pool ball fly off the table and give me a black eye. At a party, someone made a ball of ice and threw it at their buddy. Missed and hit me in the cheek. One of my high school classes played a game with a little Nerf ball for the last 20 minutes of class. I'd get hit in the head every single day. And I didn't even play. I just wanted to do my homework. So I'd sit in the corner, and I still got hit. It got to the point I had a free pass to go to the library when they started. The teacher was a coach and said he'd never seen anything like it. It was when someone slipped at the bowling alley and that ball headed toward me that I realized I was cursed. It didn't hit me, but I think it was only because it was too heavy for the powers that be. It certainly headed in the direction of my face, though. I know it was out for me. Answer. OMG, this was me in high school. Not quite to the same extent, but I got hit in the face with a softball. I couldn't see out of one eye for an hour afterwards. A volleyball. I had a concussion and needed a CT scan. Countless basketballs. Bean-filled toys. My class would play a stupid game where we would throw these at each other. I gave up playing, and probably many more things I've forgotten, most likely from the concussions. Story 10. I'm cursed medically. Sun allergy? Yep. Asthma? Yep. Chronic pain? Yep. Organs not working the way they should? Yep. Crippling depression? Yep. Water makes me nauseous. My doctor has no idea why. I could go on like this for a while. Let's just sum it up with, how am I alive at any given moment? X200B. Story 11. Forgetfulness. Even when I spend a lot of time trying to remember something and have it down, I forget it. I've forgotten prayers, whole classes, people's names, etc. And I used this information for quite some time before forgetting it. Last Friday, I ran into 3 different people at my workplace, and they all said hi to me by name. I didn't know who they were. It's disturbing. Answer. Stress and overthinking can cause this, at least in my case. When I'm really focused on something, or if I'm stressed out, my brain pushes other information out of my head to make room for whatever I'm obsessing over. Earlier, I forgot the name of the person I'm renting from for like a solid 30 seconds, and there's no good reason for me to have forgotten. I've never worried too much about it, as issues with memory don't seem to be worsening or severely impairing my life, except in those embarrassing moments that I forget someone's name that I definitely should know. I don't think it's as uncommon as you'd think for people with anxiety, ADHD, etc. Story 12. Every girl I ever am interested in and work up the courage to ask out on a date has told me that they're already dating someone else. Story 13. Whenever I feel too confident, I start to stutter. This happens especially when I'm trying to tell a joke. It sucks balls, man. Story 14. I overthink everything. Sucks the joy and spontaneity out of life. Wrecked my marriage. Makes me feel miserable and anxious. Story 15. I'm a very high-functioning autistic man. My view of the world is slightly skewed from that of non-autistic people. It makes life interesting when I'm trying to socialize and converse. Story 16. I look so boring and white that the racists I run into at work all just assume that I agree with them. So many normal-looking people just start talking trash the minute you get them alone. No, please just don't talk to me. I actually like those people and their smelly foods. Story 17. Fudge traffic. It routinely takes me an extra 10-15 minutes to get somewhere because I get caught behind every old person, stopped at every traffic light, and God forbid I need to make a left turn at a T intersection because the cars on either side will space themselves out such that I just barely don't have enough space to turn. Nobody else in my life seems to have this issue. Story 18. If I'm in a public space, I tend to get trapped in someone else's commotions. I try very hard to ignore it or look away from situations that don't involve me, but my hearing will catch the conversations, and the energy just from that will carry over. It is really annoying when I'm out with friends or on a date, and I have to try extra hard to pay attention. The worst part is when the event or situation will stick with me long after I have left the area or it has been hours past. I have no idea why I'm like that. Story 19. I have a huge male body part, 9 inches, but I also in the process of transitioning. It's like God gave me the gift of a large male body part, but also the desire to remove it. Story 20. After 2010, every woman I've broken up with went on and married the next guy girl or was with them for at least 2 years, probably just a matter of our age range, currently mid-30s, and wanting different things out of life, but it definitely feels like a curse. Story 21. Sold my car and bought another stick shift because I miss driving stick. X200B. I swear to God, ever since I got this thing, I hit every fucking red light in the city. Story 22. I never win bets, ever. I'm like William H. Macy in The Cooler. It's known well enough in my friend circle that they don't let me watch them at the tables in Vegas. Story 23. Until mid last year, I'd say every relationship I'm in ends after at most exactly 8 months, but I'm past that by almost an entire year now. Story 24. The copier at work. I am a teacher, so I have to make copies. It doesn't matter if I use the good or bad copier. It always breaks in some way, shape, or form. Story 25. Sometimes it seems like my hands do a hard reboot just randomly. I'll be holding something securely, and then all of a sudden I'm fumbling it and it's on the floor. I've tried to explain it before, but no one believes me. X200B. My husband has people constantly talk behind him at the movies. Story 26. I'm built for a long-term relationship and want to love a guy for my whole life, but am destined to be alone. Having guys tell me imperfect only makes it worse. Story 27. My alarm clock blares more harshly than usual, even for a Monday, and my vision is fixed onto those glowing red numbers, so brings down my fists, in the usual fashion, to shut this baby up. And maybe today I'm a little too forceful with my smashing, because I see a bare-boned, a strange sight now that I notice it, blast apart like hot grenade. All 27 of my ham bones rocketed out in all directions. It sounds like those simulated marble videos I've been watching so much of lately. I suppose I'll pick those up later. I try to blink at the sight explosion and my now beat-up alarm clock. Poor guy, he was just doing his job. My eyelids don't close, however. They must need a little wake-up juice. I throw off my covers and my right arm pops right off with an audibly satisfying dry popping kind of noise. I can't worry about that now, or the fact that my arm was apparently a skeleton arm. My eyes are too dry for that. I step out of bed and my legs falls apart at the hip. With a comical xylophone sound effect accompaniment, I collapse into the ground. I can't deny what's happened any longer. From my pile, I yell out to my wife, "Honey?" My jaw chatters, but my normal voice comes out relatively unchanged. Such a relief. "I think we're skeletons now." I hear her jawbone break off in shock. I should have seen it coming too. For the last week, all the major news networks were talking non-stop about how that curse will turn us all into skeletons. I couldn't be bothered to give it no. Never mind, however, as I have hobbies and such to get to. You ever just sit down and carve wood? Now there's something to pass the time doing. Wholesome too. But too bad. I guess they weren't lying this time. I'm a skeleton, my wife is a skeleton, all those scattered dog bones is probably my dog that's now a skeleton. Not even the dogs are safe. That's how I know this curse is evil. I take what is the skeleton person equivalent of a deep breath and try to focus on getting up. After a couple hours, I feel my bones, and I mean all my bones, start wiggle, jiggle, rattle, and scattle. Almost all at once, my bones fly back from wherever they were and reassemble themselves perfectly. Carefully now, I take a step. I feel a slight loss of balance as I'm used to some well-crafted and well-sculpted muscle on these bad bones. But everything holds together. I don't just xylophone. Into the ground again. So magic is real, I guess. I take a few more steps. I take a hop or two, maybe dive roll. Yeah, why not? I'm holding together just fine indeed. I go to check on my wife because maybe I can give her some pointers, and it is pretty obvious that she's just a skeleton now, you know, they dead kind. Same with my dog, just a pile of dry dog bones. That's how I know this curse is evil. I xylophone down the stairs and spring back to up no sweat. Can't sweat either, you know, because of the no skin and everything. The highly polished brass doorknob of my front door makes It difficult to get open, so I xylophone down into my basement and find my good old pair of rubber gloves. Now I have the necessary coefficient of friction I need to turn a knob or two. It's just the one knob though. I creak my way back upstairs, creak my way to the door, grip and rip that baby open, and whammo! I'm outside. Oi! I bone out in my pretty convincing British hooligan accent. Anyone else out there the magic kind of skeleton that can walk and talk and see? That last flourish was unnecessary, but I'm a walking skeleton. Why shouldn't I have a little showmanship? I hear no answers. Well, I'm supposing I should just walk the streets to see if there's anyone out there who can hold a conversation. Story 28. I have tremendous memory, not when it comes to remembering study notes for tests, but when it comes to stuff like remembering what I was thinking in situations years ago and remembering things I said or was told. Curse, because mostly the awkward and embarrassing things come back to mind. I'd rather just forget it. Answer. This, and then when I'm at library story time with my kid and I see somebody vaguely familiar, my mind is going, you graduated 2 years ahead of me and your sister was in my class, and we did show choir together for a few years. But she and I weren't really friends. But you married a dear old friend's older brother, which was ironic because you have the same first name as their baby sister. Big Catholic family. Their mom was going to be a nun at one point. But there is likely zero reason this woman would recognize me, so I settle on, you look so familiar to me. Did you go to what's it? High school? Story 29. I'm allergic to Axe-Link's body spray, yet always get it for Christmas, no matter how many times I tell people. Story 30. Every time I've broken up with a girl, their pet dies. Sometimes a week after, sometimes a couple months. But within a year of the relationship ending, their pet dies. I've actually told a couple girlfriends that if they love their pet, they'll never break up with me. Story 31. Every time I wear headphones, I mess them up somehow. I don't do anything to them besides listen out of them. I don't know if it's my energy messing with the electricity or what, but they either get staticky, one stops working, or both stop working. It's an all-time curse I have that people keep recognizing and are thinking that I'm breaking them. Story 32. My inability to present myself the way I am in my head. Not so much in a body image way, but like just an image sense. My interests fall in line with heavy occult, horror, dark nonsense stuff, yet everyone addresses me as what I can only describe as that cute, clumsy baby sister. My hair gets ruffled. My name has become a verb for fudge, up in a cute way. It isn't for a lack of trying. I've got the aesthetic. And I make no attempts to hide my interest. For God's sake, I am the cringy goth GF. And yet no matter what I do, who I think I am, versus who I really am, is just never in line. Story 33. Well, aside from an insatiable sense of loneliness, which others have already touched on, cerebral palsy. Story 34. Whoever you cheat on me with will be your soulmate, or at the very least, a very long relationship. At least they're so long the option to go desperately crawling back never comes up. Story 35. I'm a bit like Dane Cook in Good Luck Chuck. 4 of my previous significant others have met the person they later married either while they were still with me or the first person they dated after we broke up. So far, the most recent ex is still single, so the curse may be over. But I'm still single, Ev, so maybe it's running strong and just taking its time. Story 36. Making life-changing moves to have the place I have gone to, whether work, college, my hobby, go through a transition or issues and completely fall apart. Story 37. I'm always single for half a year, and then all of the sudden like 7 guys are interested in me for 2 weeks long. It always fudge happens, and when it happens, I'm too overwhelmed to really get into a relationship. I don't know how it happens, but I'm really grateful for the small stops where I have a relationship. Story 38. I overshare and can't keep secrets. I also have a voice that carries even if I speak in a low voice. Story 39. Every time I think I'm actually getting good with money, or I somewhat get close to a goal that requires money, and I actually think I'll be able to do it, something expensive and unavoidable comes along and cleans out my bank. Story 40. When driving to school from home for class, I hit every stoplight in between them, all 12 of them, but it doesn't happen when I go anywhere else along the same route for any other reason. Story 41. Every time I manage to get a boyfriend, my parents and my siblings get into a huge fight a few days after we tell them that we're dating. Every single time. Just to clarify, not a fight about my relationship, just about something else. Story 42. I've never gone more than 2 years without surgery, but it's closer to 1 year. Many open heart surgeries. My first was done at 10 hours old. Had my tonsils, gallbladder, appendix removed, all within 3-ish years of each other. Several surgeries on my jaw, TMJ due to bone loss, a chip formed, and my jaw would literally lock into it. So it was shaved down on both sides a few times. Then I had titanium implants put in. And then I was supposed to have my law jaw pushed forward, but that couldn't happen because of the previous surgeries. I don't have enough bone for them to use. I've had several heart monitors implanted. I've had at least a dozen heart caths, groin, neck, and wrist. A few they tried stenting but never worked. Cardio ablations. ICD placement. My sternum decided to overlap about 2 years after my 4th open heart surgery. For about a month, it started clicking and settling. I stupidly ignored it. But I was a freshman in community college, and I was doing well for me. About a month after it started, I went to get up out of bed and had extreme pain. Wires broke and my sternum was literally overlapping, so they went in to fix it. There's probably more, but that's all I can think of now. Also, about once a year my DRs find something else wrong with me. 5 congenital heart defects, 2 congenital lung defects, hypoplastic lung syndrome, pulmonary hypertension, pulmonary fibrosis, heart failure, AFib, 1 working lung, bronchial obliterance, asthma, stroke, heart attack, arthritis, 11 years old, spine degeneration, autoimmune issues, immune system disorder, COPD. All the veins on the left side of my heart are closed. GERD. I get checked for esophageal cancer once a year because of how bad it is, and because it's linked with all my lung crap. Diet doesn't really play into it. Dropped foot. From my 2nd stroke. How I'm alive is beyond me. I'm starting the process for heart bilateral lung transplant, but I'm pretty sure I've have enough health issues for a lifetime. I'm 28, and I've lived with most of these since I was little. It's like I'm both a child because I'm not a true adult, because my health limits me doing a lot of things. But yet I feel like I'm in my 60s because of how fast I grew up and what my body feels like. People see me, and because of my age, apparently, I can't be as sick as I say I am, and that I won't know what tiredness, pain, real arthritis, etc. feels like until I'm older. Few people have even told me my open heart surgeries weren't that major because babies, kids, teens, young adults can't be that sick. Even though I tell them I was born with 5 congenital heart defects. My heart looks nothing like what a healthy heart looks like. Almost like if Picasso had painted his version of what a heart looks like. And the fact I was literally born dying and had my first open heart surgery at about 10 hours old. I'd love it if I could go just 1 year without surgery, without something new medical-wise comes up due to findings on testings, without adding a new medication. On 16 at the moment. I'd like to point out that I am completely thankful I have DRS meds I can take having life-saving surgeries. I know how lucky I am to have that chance to get it. If it wasn't for Medicaid, Medicare, TRICARE till I was 20, I wouldn't be alive. But it would be nice to not need those things. And once I get a new heart lungs, while it will be a while for that recovery, I'm hoping after that, things will slow down a lot. Story 43. Chronic pain. I may look fine, but in reality, it feels like every single one of my joints are trying to simultaneously burst out from my body. Story 44. Unproductive at the wrong times. Have a paper due? I'll clean my room first. Have a textbook reading due the next day? I'll work on an extra credit assignment. Theoretically, it should be a win-win situation, but by the time that I finish the second objective, I don't have enough time for the first one. It's like my body feels the need to procrastinate, not but 100. So I end up doing what's due in the long run, but not in the immediate future. Story 45. I've never gotten just a flat tire. Instead, I've had multiple blowouts, one while on a 4-lane interstate. Every single time the tire shredded to bits. AEA is your friend, people. Story 46. Whenever I get bad feeling about someone, I'm usually correct, which is fine in the long run, but when it first comes up, people think I'm just being pessimistic and that I'm looking for the bad in people when that's the last thing I want. Story 47. Whenever I'm trying to walk past someone, they go the same direction that I try to go, and it just becomes awkward. Story 48. Always getting decent at competitive things, and then feeling like the wins are routine boring at that point, but the losses still hurt the same amount. Story 49. Burgers, the most American food an American can eat, make me feel sick when I eat them. Sometimes I just eat them anyways to fit in with the masses. Story 50. I always go all in on something that I'm interested in. Then, after a while, I suddenly get bored and wander off. It's annoying. So many games left unfinished. Story 51. I'm always injured in some way. About 2 years ago, I broke my ankle playing football. Since then, in chronological order, I've sprained a wrist, fallen down a valley onto a train line while mountain biking, spraining both wrists, and stretching and tearing ligaments in my shoulder in the process of it. I've sprained a wrist again, and a week later the other one, I twisted a knee. I had a problem where I couldn't bend my neck at all for about 2 weeks. I've had a mild concussion, broken a tooth, broken my ankle again. But this time, it's refusing to heal. Sprained another wrist, banged my head again, damaged my back, torn the tendons in my knee, and had a speaker explode in my ear, effectively blasting away some of my hearing. It seems to be my curse that I'm in the hospital or the doctor's office or the physiotherapist's ad.